Did you ever hear the story of the two celestial sisters, Solveig and Aysu? No, of course. These are names we hear too little nowadays. Solveig and Aysu, the sun and the moon, two goddesses who watched over our world for millennia. Solveig, the eldest, brought warmth and light, and her rays nourished all that lived on Viraj. Aysu was mistress of the night. When darkness fell, it was Aysu's winds that brought renewal and rest. In the goddess's hands, Viraj became a fertile land, and many civilizations rose and fell under their benevolent eyes. Yet, as civilizations passed, one cult always persisted. Solveig, the star of life, was worshipped by mortals. As for Aysu, it is difficult for those nurtured by light not to fear the face of darkness. Yet Aysu did not take offense at first, but eternity wore at her, and Aysu's love for her sister turned to sadness, sadness to envy. Aysu's misery drew the eyes of two malicious advisors, Hugin and Munnin. Preying on her sadness, the great crows flattered her, praised her, and betrayed her. Tricking Aysu to exile herself to Viraj was easy for them. They knew the goddess craved her own place in the sun, and so it was that Aysu left the heavens, and the night, so vital to the world, left with her. Under Solveig's unrelenting rays, Viraj blossomed into jungles, then to deserts, and finally, as Solveig's strength was nearly spent, into ice. Without her sister, Solveig could not rest, and the sun became a dull, distant glow. The oceans, now claimed by frost, swallowed everything but the highest peaks. The world was dying. As for Aysu, weakened by her years of exile, she remained hidden in the shadows, nowhere to be found. That is, until our story begins. As Aysu touched the strange flower, the buzzing, the whispering, dissipated with a final sigh and was replaced by a voice she recognized immediately. Solveig. And for the mistress of the sun, her voice was ice cold. Little sister. Solveig. So now you can hear me? Good. Then follow me. There should be enough of these essence fragments for you to recover. Aysu stopped and anchored her heels in the snow. I know why you are here, but I will not be going back to the heavens. You have to recover your powers. You cannot remain as you are. How if I can't leave this glacier? Because I can't stand your light anymore. Our cousins, the constellations, will transport you near the next essence. From there, We will find a way. Solveig hesitated again. You know, I would have preferred our reunion to be under different circumstances, but it is good to see you again.
Yes, me too.
And at these words, across the sky, the stars began to shine once more. Despite all that had happened, it was good to see their light again. Massive ruins towered before the two sisters, what may have once been a fortress or a palace. Yet Aysu's attention was drawn to the door of the structure and the faded symbol carved upon it. It held her attention so completely, she seemed to forget the ice beneath her feet, even the ice that blanketed the world. We're far from the fragment. Take care to remain in my shadow.
I always have, sister.
As she descended from the eternal azure, Aysu saw an armed figure pacing the ruins. A mortal.
We had to come across one of them, didn't we? Fortunately, this time you're here. You can ask your servant to bring me the flower. Or at least leave me alone. For once.
They are not my servants. For a moment, Solveig's beam wavered.
So, what is he doing here then? Weren't these buildings erected in your honor? To worship you?
He merely survives. They all do. Much has changed since your disappearance. Look around. Who would worship a sun that cannot melt the ice around them? Mortals now follow a new god, Embark, the winged hound, a god of hunger. Beware his disciples. You are too weak to face them on your own. But all will return to normal when you come. But the young goddess did not respond. She was frozen, for another of Embark's followers had approached. Luckily, Aysu had concealed herself and was hidden from his eyes. As Aysu's fingers touched the glowing petals, the flower and its insistent whispers dissipated into a burst of fireflies.
Thank you. It was, well, done for.
Her words failed her as her attention was drawn to a fresco on the wall. It depicted a bloodthirsty creature, a winged hound, its fangs sharp as sabers.
This is Zamarg? And to think that they were afraid of me.
A terrible god for a terrible time. Aysu did not reply. Her gaze was caught by the beast's two black feathered wings.
Solveig, what happened to Hugin and Munin after I left? You know, it's the two crows that...
Do you remember Hugin and Munin, the vile advisors who had tricked Aysu into exile? Solveig did. I know who they are.
Sometimes I still hear their croaks. They haunt me.
This time, Solveig remained silent. Let us go, before the hound's disciples return.